Hey everybody, Josh from Populi here. If I've learned one thing, it's that people out fishing care more about fish than being instructed about Populi from a nice man in an inflatable kayak. But here you are, eager to cast a line into the murky depths and reel in some knowledge about degrees in Populi. This is part of a loose series of Intro to Populi videos, and down in the description, we'll link a playlist with other Intro to Populi videos. We'll also link the intro video for programs, which might be helpful context for degrees, and we'll include other resources down there as well. The use of degrees is pretty obvious. Having degrees lets you know which students are pursuing which courses of study. You're going to have a degree name to put on a transcript. And in Populi, you're also going to be able to define degree requirements, so you and the student are aware of where they are as they progress towards completion of their degree. Degrees exist in a hierarchy under programs, but then degrees have their own hierarchy. You have specializations under them, which can be majors or minors or concentrations and so on. Students get degrees on their profiles, so let's have a look at one. And I'm looking at this from an academic admin role perspective. It shows up over here on the right. Degrees have various details noted there, like the status, catalog year, other stuff. The degrees are manually added, or as we saw back in the Intro to Populi programs video, via the admissions team importing the course of study as part of the admissions process. There are a number of different ways to set up your system of degrees. The simplest setup is to set up a category degree like Associate of Arts or Bachelor of Arts, and then to use specializations to create majors. So you might have an English major and a history major created as specializations under that single degree. And then you could also create minors alongside those majors. It's important to figure out the structure ahead of time because of how those definitions work. You'll probably end up building degree audits at some point, and those degree audits will contain course requirements that define the degree. Of course, the definition of that degree when it comes to those course requirements will be different with an English major than with a history major. Let's make this a touch more concrete. You have a bachelor's degree. It's generic. Allow me to think of a brilliant metaphor to describe this. The generic bachelor's degree is a stock. It's just broth. You have a bunch of core courses within the bachelor's degree that students complete before they end up taking courses specific to their major. You can define the core courses at the generic level of the bachelor's degree, and then you would be able to define the courses for, say, your English major for the bachelor's, and you would do that with a specialization. You would do the same for a history major. So, both the English major and the history major would have the same generic base or stock, the same basic broth. The function of a degree audit for a degree in Populi is to allow the student and their various advisors and administrators to see where that student stands in relation to degree requirements. With the degree audit in place, they can easily see the number of credits that have been granted to that student, their GPA, and then the specific courses that they need to complete in order to have their degree granted. That's the goal of the degree audit. But let's look at what makes it up. The degree audit basically has two parts that are defined on the degree. The broader requirements, like the GPA that a student needs to have for the degree to be granted, the total number of credits necessary, and then the specific courses that they must complete. So you easily set up the first over here, but then to define the course requirements, you'll need to create course groups. These groups contain all of the courses in a particular category that someone could take in order to fulfill the requirements here. Those categories would work according to however you all think of your courses and requirements. So even though most schools aren't set up this way, for the sake of example, let's say that your school was very carefully regimented. In the first term, all of the students pursuing this degree take these 5 courses listed in this course group. So we put all 5 of those courses in a course group. Then we do the same for the next term and so on, creating all of those course groups. Then we attach those back on the degree itself here. And we're setting requirements as we do that. So in our example, the requirement for this first term is all 5 of these courses. Then a student goes and takes those courses, and we can see that they've done so, that they fulfill that requirement. They can see this, their advisors can see this, the administration can, everyone's on the same page. Let's look at something closer to what most schools have. So let's say we've got a bunch of core courses on this degree. This is a much more general set of courses. If we go to one of the course groups here, we can see that students can pick and choose between them, but they have to take a total of 10 credits from this particular course group. So we set up course groups that have everything that a student could potentially take to meet those requirements there for those core courses. Then we go to the degree and we attach those course groups there, and then we add the requirements, values, the GPA, and all that. So in this situation, we're requiring 10 credits here. So that's going to be under units there. So we just pop in 10 there and then save. Now, in order for a student to satisfy that requirement, they need to enroll in courses within this course group. They need to complete those and be granted those credits. As the student receives those credits, they and the administrators will see the count increase on the course group, but also up on the general degree requirements until they meet that requirement. So we saw that one course group there, but then you're going to build all the necessary course groups to house those courses, and you're going to attach them to the degree until you define all of the course requirements for the degree. And then you'll do the same for your specializations within that degree. So we've been talking about having this bachelor's degree, which is the broth. You'll define that basic broth with all of these course requirements here. But then you would create the definitions for the specializations with their own course requirements. And those course requirements will be in addition to what's on the bachelor's degree. So let's just choose some round numbers here. We'll go back. We're looking at the bachelor's degree, and you can see over here, we've got a total of 100 units that are required here to receive this degree. But then we can look at the course group requirements that are actually set on that degree. And we've got a total of 40 units or credits here. So that's what's common in our hypothetical situation here for all the majors for this Bachelor of Arts degree. So the bachelor's degree will only contain course groups that require those 40 credits. And then beyond those credits, the course requirements are on the specialization for their major. So the majors in this situation have requirements for 60 credits that a student must earn to get their degree. And you're going to build the majors under this degree the same way that we saw, creating course groups and then attaching them to the specializations with those various requirements. There are further complexities to this when we're on a student's profile on the degree audit there. We can go down and you can see that we have exceptions and substitutions and all that kind of thing. But remember, the basic idea is that you have a degree that students can pursue, a degree name ends up on their transcript, and you build the degree requirements, including those course requirements, so that the administration, advisors, and the students can all see what's required of them and where they are. And I want to be clear, you don't have to use the structure that we're pointing to here. What we've looked at here makes the most sense when you have a significant required course overlap on the same degree between different majors. If you don't have much overlap between majors, you could just create a different bachelor's degree for every major. So you'd have a bachelor's of arts in English, a bachelor of arts in history, etc., etc. And you wouldn't mess around with distinguishing those degrees at that level of specialization. We have resources with more information about the degree audit, including more detailed instructions about how to get them set up, and those are all linked down in the description. Check them out. Do you want to dig deeper and get more out of Populi for your school? Join our Discord server. It's where Populi users can ask each other questions and capitalize on community knowledge. If you want to become part of that community, go to Help in Populi and choose Join the User Community. That'll take you to a spot that has instructions about how you can get set up. I've been Josh for Populi. You've been great. Thanks for watching.